Last week, I discussed what time zones people use at the poles, and this week I'll be talking about what time zones people will likely be using off of the Earth entirely. Hello and welcome to what is essentially the second and last part of the time zone series. First, let's get something clear. If you are in space, but anchored to a small part of the Earth by a space elevator, so you're essentially hanging above one part of the Earth, the answer to the question of what time zone you would use is simple. Use whatever time zone the grab below you uses. I mean, you're still in one fixed spot, so it doesn't really matter all that much. Now what if you were in orbit, moving in and out of the daytime side at 13 kilometers per second? Now that is a harder question to answer. Moving across the surface, fast-moving objects like planes and trains going east to west or west to east usually just have their passengers adjust their clocks when they reach their destination, even if that means setting your phone's clock 8 hours forward while riding on the plane, just all at once. It's not as important here because you usually don't spend any more than a day or so on those things unless it's West Coast Amtrak. 30 hours going from Portland to LA in a seat that's really no more comfortable than an airplane? But on the ISS, where it can take up to 2 days just to dock with it, it's more important, mainly because people actually live there, and since there are 16 nights in a 24-hour period, that's not good for a normal human sleep schedule. So what time zone does the ISS use? They use Greenwich Mean Time, or UTC 0. That was a plus-minus sign, by the way. It exists. Even though the launch site is in Kazakhstan, which uses UTC plus 5. Okay, we need to go deeper into space. God damn it! Let's go to Mars. Mars, which, though significantly smaller, spins in about the same time as Earth, just with 25-hour days. So we really need to divide the surface up into 25 significantly smaller time zones, or actually 26. It's minus 12 to plus 13 and including 0. Keep in mind, Earth actually has 25 time zones, minus 12 through plus 12 and including 0. Okay, so what about the Moon, which is tidally locked to the Earth and therefore is days equivalent to a month and is kind of the definition of a month? Well, let me introduce you to Kenneth L. Franklin. Yep, there he is. Say hi, Kenneth. Now let me introduce you to his invention, the Lunar Watch, which measures time in lunations, which are equivalent to 29.530589 Earth days. You might have heard of this from Vsauce3's Could We Live on the Moon video, which didn't go too far into the subject, but to be fair, Jake had to talk about the other aspects about living on the moon, so I'll talk about the Lunar Watch for him. Each lunation is divided into lune hours, with smaller divisions of decilune hours, centilune hours, and millilune hours. Franklin said that the time zones on the moon would be based on meridians that are 12 degrees wide, rather than the 15 degrees on Earth. So I guess time zones aren't really too hard to adapt for other worlds, as long as you have a different way of measuring time. Or we could always use Greenwich Mean Time and act like it doesn't matter on places like the Moon or Venus, which have absurdly long days, and where telling the time is equivalent to telling what month it is. Literally. Or we could just settle for universal time if things get too out of control. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to give it a like, share this video, and subscribe for more in the future, and I will see you on Wednesday.